Yeah, it's interesting because I think that the word design can mean a lot of different things, of course. And so I got into this industry through kind of a design orientation, particularly with my undergraduate work, rather than a marketing orientation, at least from the start. And, my early work was really design in the service of marketing, and it still exists today. But design can relate to marketing, but it relates to other things as well. And so, at its core, design is about trying to think about the human needs. Designing for people, whether they're aesthetic needs or usability, ergonomic needs, that sort of thing. And sort of, it's a different kind of a lens, thinking about, trying to better understand what people need and what they want, which it kind of overlaps the idea of market research, but the tradition kind of market research is a little bit different than user research. Market research kind of implies customers, which has an implication of their buyers, right? Whereas user research and designing for users can have a broader application. It can be about products, anybody who's using a product or a service, right? And so it kind of has a little bit broader envelope. And it also doesn't necessarily assume a commercial interaction. It might be about better usability. It might be about being able to perform a certain function that isn't necessarily a transactional one. So it sort of is a different kind of a lens, and I'm happy to sort of bring some of that thinking into the world of customer experience. And so I think among the things that looking at people as users as opposed to customers is it helps to bridge the gap to other kinds of audiences. For example, like a user can be a buyer, but they also may be sellers or influencers or employees, which bridges the gap between employee experience and customer experience to a degree. Some of the same kind of approaches allows you to sort of address different kinds of people. And so, if you think about, the design sort of perspective is something that gained a lot of popularity, particularly as Apple, I think, is part of the poster child of a company that moved from bankruptcy to be to being one of the most valuable companies in the world, or the most valuable for a time. Everybody started asking themselves, what was that really about? When they didn't, particularly in some of those cases, they didn't necessarily introduce new technology. It was really about experience and brand and other things, right? And so the emergence of this idea of design thinking, which is really trying to bring these kind of user-centered design approaches at scale within companies and trying to work on kind of collaborative processes, have become more mature over the last decade or so. And as you mentioned, there are a lot of terms being floated around. So in the design world, people talk about user experience, and they're usually talking more like at a product level versus customer experience, which is kind of more of at a macro level. And other terms like interaction design and service design. And from my perspective, whether it's kind of micro or macro, everyone's kind of talking about trying to improve a customer journey. And from my perspective, human-centered design is just as a helpful lens for CX.